Boop boop.
Oh, I guess I should open the show.
Uh,
Well, rest in power to we may not have always agreed, but a comrade nonetheless. Someone on the center to right end of the sphere of the DSA. Um, President of the DSA, Madeleine Albright, has died. It is dead.
Creator of the DSA.
That's who we were getting our orders from.
Yeah.
To co-opt the organization. So I don't know. We're free now, I guess.
We're free,
She
Genie.
came up with progressive stack.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the first things she did.
It's real sad that Madeleine Albright's dead. Henry Kissinger is just never going to die, right? I feel like this is like a beat to death premise almost. It's almost like making jokes about like Keith Richards or something like that.
Well, do you know why it's beat to death? Because he just keeps living.
It's going to cycle back around. It's like one of those jokes that like gets old and then you just keep doing it and then it cycles back around and it is funny again and then gets old and then he's just
because he
still
won't
alive.
Die. He's going to be the living incarnation of like my wife because he won't fucking die. I wonder if he's
like a wine.
Do you think he does the same drugs as Keith Richards and that's why he's alive? Because he's like pickled with like top grade cocaine and heroin.
I think he made a deal with Satan. That's the only thing I could that can explain it, frankly.
Anders, can you tell me about Madeleine Albright? Because I thought she was the one who wrote the Phantom Toll Booth.
No, that was. I think the person you're thinking of is Madeleine L'Engle, who is not the author of the Phantom Toll Booth.
I think it's Madeleine Albright.
The kids are not all bright. If we're going back to whenever she was a student, because
good one.
Thank you. She, I think, is a menace. I think she's an old bag, and I'm glad she is gone, frankly. And I say that, and people are like, that's a rude thing to say.
She was a menace.
1990, one of the first viral videos. It was viral in the Middle East. It was not viral in the United States, where she said it, and the country she was representing. People just didn't care for the most part. But 1996, a year I'm very familiar with, she was interviewed on 60 Minutes, the 60th minute, and was asked, I have the quote here, Leslie Stahl asks her about UN sanctions against Iraq. And she said, we've heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And, is the price worth it? And Albright says, we think the price is worth it. Boom, cut, clip, circulate on Middle Eastern television again and again and again. People saw that and heard that all over the world, except for the country she was representing. And were justifiably enraged because she was knowingly defending the deaths of children.
Well, but
Iraq.
she did it with confidence, and that's how you get a good job like that. Like, she was the first woman Secretary of State, and she was like, I can kill even more children.
What she was explaining was that it was a good deal, it was a bargain. And that's what you need in a Secretary of State, is someone who's thrifty.
A Secretary of State has to be pure of heart. They have to be able to approach the special platform between the train stations and run right through it.
Oh, right. Like Harry Potter.
Secretary of State must be shrewd.
You're a Secretary of State, Harry.
Or Secretary of State, Harry.
There's a clip circulating now of her when she was Secretary of State, I believe, in 98 at OSU, and a student is asking, a very old student. This guy looks like he's, 35. I guess it's weird to look at clips in the 90s of like teens because they look older than teens today. It's very, anyway. He asks her about the U.S. bombing Iraq and letting Israel massacre Palestinians and all just the terror and awful stuff the U.S. government supports around the world. And she's just like, a lot of bad stuff happens around the world. People start booing. And she's like, look, I didn't expect people to defend Saddam Hussein, which was always the answer when this stuff was brought up. You know, we think, oh, that was the second Bush administration's line whenever anybody questioned the Iraq War. Well, you must support Saddam Hussein, right? And it's the same thing we're seeing today with the Ukraine invasion and Putin. And it was started in the 90s. So much of the pretext for the Iraq War began under her watch and under Clinton
rule
and
out
Gore's watch.
That Vladimir Putin did not kill Madeleine Albright? Can we say that for sure?
I'm sure that is circulating right now, that rumor on certain parts of Twitter and, perhaps in the deep state.
I've seen a lot of these lefty loonies, and they're out here, and they want to kiss this guy. They want to get him alone and give him a big kiss on his big bald mouth. They can't get enough of him. I'm sure they'd gladly off an old woman and the paragon of feminism to do it.
She actually had a run-in with Putin, I believe, in the tail end of the Clinton administration, where she had a monkey lapel.
A what?
A monkey lapel pin. She wore a lot of pins. She would wear lapel pins all the time.
We're like Flair.
Flair, yeah. And Putin is like, I like your, he has a translator, is like, I like your pin. And she's like, oh, thank you. I wore it today to represent your policy on some region I'm forgetting. And then he's like, well, now I don't like that, and walks off.
He's so good at diplomacy and speaking.